Earlier this year, we learned about how to classify just angles, just regular angles, and we found that we have acute, right, and obtuse angles. Remember, an acute angle is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. And a right angle measures exactly 90 degrees. And we use this little red box here to signify that it is a 90-degree angle. Obtuse angles, they have to measure more than 90 degrees, but they need to be less than 180. Remember, 180 degrees would be a straight line. In the same way, we classify triangles by their angles, because we can classify triangles by their angles and their sides. To classify them by their angles, basically just think of the same words that we just used and think of them with triangles. An acute triangle has all three acute angles. Notice it's all three that are acute. And you can see that in the diagram below. We have three acute angles. 1, 2, 3. A right triangle then has one right angle. All the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, so that's why we can only have one right angle. Usually the other two will be acute. We call this a right triangle because it has one 90-degree angle. An obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle. As you can see down here, this is obtuse. It's greater than 90 degrees, but it's less than 180. And same thing with the right triangle. We can only have one obtuse angle in a triangle, and then the other two are going to be acute. When we're talking naming the sides of this triangle in order from shortest to longest, we have to first know how to go about figuring out the shortest and longest sides. So we've got angle measures. We've got 61 degrees, 60 degrees. Let's find W, and then I can explain how to figure out the lengths of the sides. Okay, all of the angles will add up to 180. Well, 61 plus 60 is 121. If we subtract that from 180, we're going to get 59. So therefore, the measure of angle W is 59 degrees. Now, to describe the sides, since this is the biggest angle, I know that whatever side is opposite this angle, that would be side WX, that's the longest side because this is the biggest angle. The next longest side would be the next biggest angle, the side across from the next biggest angle. Well, 60's the next biggest, so therefore WY, is the second longest side. Then the shortest side is across from the shortest angle measure, so that would be side YX. So if they want to name the sides of this triangle in order from shortest to longest, we can name them by saying the shortest would be YX because it's across from angle 59 degrees. Then, so that's the shortest side. The next shortest would be side YW. And then the longest side would be across from 61 degrees, so that would be WX. This would be your answer for this question. In this example, we're asked to find which sides of this triangle are the same length. Remember, to find the third angle, we just add up the two angles we know and subtract from 180. Well, I have 180 minus 58 plus 61, which is 119. When I subtract that, I get 61 degrees. So therefore, angle Q is 61 degrees. We can figure out which side lengths are the same length by looking at their angles. Remember, we can see that this angle is 61 degrees, this angle is 61 degrees, so therefore, side opposite of these angles, QS, and opposite of this angle would be SR. So these two sides are the same length. So we can write, for our answer, which sides of this triangle are the same length? Side SR and side SQ. In triangle JKL, JK is equal to KL. So JK is equal to KL, and KL is equal to LJ. So therefore, seeing my tick marks, I have 2 on each side, which says that all 3 sides are the same length. We've learned that in example 2, if the angle measures are the same, then the sides are the same length. So therefore, to find the measure of angle J, we know that all 3 angles will add up to 180, and if all the sides are the same length, then all the angle measures will be the same length too. So all we need to do to find the length and measure of angle J, we just need to take 180 divided by 3, because there's 3 angles and they're all the same length. And when we do that, 3 goes into 18 6 times, 3 goes into 0 0 times. So therefore, we know that angle J is 60 degrees. And we also know that angle K is 60 degrees and angle L is 60 degrees. Because if their sides are the same length, so are their angle measures. Now, we call this type of triangle an equilateral triangle because we have 3 equal sides and 3 equal angles. Equilateral triangle, meaning 3 sides, same length. Okay, then we also have 3 angles, same measure. Let's look at the other 2 types of triangles. We call this equilateral, and we're talking about the sides now. We're not talking about angles anymore. We're talking about sides. If we were classifying this by its angles, we would say it was acute. Equilateral, we're talking about side lengths. To add on to example 3, you can see we can classify triangles by their sides. Before we were classifying by angles, now we're classifying by sides. I just showed you that if a triangle has 3 sides the same length, we call that equilateral. Also, it means that their angles will be the same length too. You can see these red tick marks here show that these 3 sides are the same length. This is called equilateral. Think of equal and equilateral, think equal sides. Okay? An isosceles triangle has 2 sides the same length, at least 2 sides the same length. As you can see here, you have tick marks on just 2 sides, but not the third. And you can see by looking at it that this third side is a lot shorter. But you want to make sure that you are accurate and you have tick marks. Don't just assume that is isosceles. Then a scalene triangle has no sides of equal length. Every side is a different length. As you can see, there's no red tick marks on this. So this is how you classify triangles, by its sides. Let's take a look at example 4 now. In example 4, it says the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 2 feet. How many inches long is each side? So if this is our triangle, we can say, remember perimeter, you're just walking along the outside edge of our triangle. If we add up all 3 sides, it's equal to 3 feet, but they want to know how many inches that is. So we just have to convert 2 feet to inches. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So if we double that to make 2 feet, then that means there's 24 inches. Okay? So we have 24 inches for the perimeter. Perimeter equals 24 inches. Well, we know that that perimeter is equal to adding up 3 sides. All we have to do is 24 divided by 3 sides. 3 goes into 24 8 times, so each side is 8 inches long. Example 5 says draw an isosceles right triangle. These 2 words right here tell us very important information. Right means we have to have a right angle, a 90-degree angle. Isosceles means 2 sides the same length. Okay, so we put those together. We're going to have 2 sides the same length, and we're going to have a 90-degree angle. Let's draw that. There's that side. Normally you would measure this. I'm just eyeballing it right now, but we can say that this side is the same length as this side. We have a 90-degree angle. Now I just have to put together my other 2 sides. And when I do that, I have an isosceles right triangle. For your practice to bring to class, you need to do A through F and the letter I. See you tomorrow.